Red Wolf here, and today we're going to take a deep dive look into blasters in Star Wars Battlefront 2. Today's target is the CR-2. Now this information is as of recording on January 13th. There is a nerf coming, and when it does, I will post an update for that. We'll be taking a look at the magazine size, rate of fire, damage and how it drops off, cooling power, and accuracy. And I'm going to assume that you already know which class these weapons belong to, but if you don't, I'll link the trooper review for their class in the card that is now coming up on your screen. But before we get into all that, make sure to hit that like, subscribe, and notification button so you don't miss when your favorite weapon is posted. And if you know anyone who's a stats guy or gal or person, everyone's welcome here. Share this. I'm sure they'll enjoy the next section, the methodology. If you want to skip the headache, the time code to go straight to the weapon is in the description down below. Alright, you nerds, break out your calculators, notebooks, and number 2 pencils. It's time to do some math. Granted, I'm not going to go into the formulas, and I'm sure a lot of you are mad right now, but I'm sure if I could figure it out, you could too. I'm not all that smart. So as all of you know who play Star Wars Battlefront 2, they don't share much information as to the statistics for each weapon, so I broke out my Excel 2003 since that's the last version that I bought, and then quickly went over to Google Sheets because it's free. For all the number gathering, it was done in an arcade match, mostly on Tatooine because I love that map, recorded, loaded into a video editing program, I use Adobe Premiere, and then clicked through frame by frame to get the exact times for the rate of fire, how long it takes to unload a magazine, and how long it takes to cool or reload. All this was placed inside of a spreadsheet, formulas were entered, and boom, statistics. For the damage amounts, I started with both troopers giving each other a hug, and then counting out the number of steps the stormtrooper went at a normal run, stopping at 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, and 35 steps. When the damage changed, the runner moved one step closer to see where the drop-off occurred. For the CR-2, the lowest damage point is 30 steps at a normal run. I used a normal run since moving the stick all the way forward is keeping it consistent. In order to get the magazine size for each weapon, I actually fired each shot and counted. It's super fancy, I know, but that's the only way I could get an accurate count. If someone knows a better way, please let me know. And if there's something I left out that you're wondering how I came up with the numbers for, please let me know as well. Alright, let's get back to everyone who skipped this. The CR-2 was a little rough to get a round count on before needing to cool. The reason for this is sometimes when you pull the trigger, the rate of fire is so fast that 2 rounds came out instead of 1. So in order to get an accurate count, I couldn't go by the frame by frame and watch for the flashing of the animation, since it doesn't always show the animation for each round fired. When I did it that way, I got 25, which I thought was low, and put the rest of the numbers really low as well, and that didn't make a whole lot of sense for the amount of damage it does. So I went back and counted each round with just tapping the trigger. I did this 10 times, and of those 10, 7 of them came back the same. The magazine count for the CR-2 came back to 50 rounds before needing to reload or forced to cool. I'm about 70% sure on that, and that's a really bad math joke. Sorry. Anyway, 50 rounds makes sense, since if 2 rounds come out with each animation at full speed, since frame by frame it came down to 25 animations, which would put the round count at 50. So this is for both normal and ion shot attachments. And when going frame by frame, we were also able to come up with the amount of time it took for the CR-2 to unload the entire 50 rounds. The CR-2 was able to unload the entire magazine in about 3.42 seconds. That comes to 877 rounds per minute. This is insanely fast for this game, and I've got the rest of the numbers on the assault rifles, and this is the fastest by far, and probably is what's going to be nerfed in the coming patch. Now I know some of you are doubting the information, but I checked this numerous times as well, since it's so much higher than all the other rifles. It is on par with the TL-50 and the rapid fire for the SE-44C though, so it's not completely outrageous, it's just faster in class than most other weapons. So now that we have the rate of fire at 877 rounds per minute, let's move on to where the CR-2 really shines and actually kind of turn some people off who aren't looking at rate of fire. So the damage. All the numbers on damage are in an ideal setting with 0 misses and 0 headshots, since headshots are inconsistent. So let's start with the maximum amount of damage the CR-2 can do, which is 17 damage per round. Now that doesn't seem like a whole lot, and that amount of damage only goes to about 10 steps away. Once you get 10 steps at a normal run away, the damage starts to drop off, going down to 9 damage per round at 30 steps. So at long range, you do 53% of the damage done at close range, and it's the largest drop off among assault rifles. The graph that's up now is showing the damage drop off, with blue being the CR-2 without attachments and red being with ion shot equipped. The ion shot max damage is 15 damage per round, again dropping off at 10 steps, and then dropping to 8 damage per round at 30 steps. The CR-2 at close range will take 6 rounds to kill a specialist, 9 rounds to kill an assault and officer, and 12 rounds to kill a heavy. With ion shot, it'll take 7, 10, and 14 rounds respectively. All around, the ion shot isn't isn't that much more of a drop off as I had originally thought. Since the rate of fire is so fast, it's almost not even noticeable. So with that, I have started to run the ion shot just because it does take down the heavy shields a lot quicker, which has made killing heavies even easier than it already was with this weapon. So the ion shot is worth using. I don't use the scope because it doesn't do anything for me but make it harder to see. I definitely would use the recoil reduction, but we'll get into that here shortly. So now let's get into the craziest part on the damage and why you should be using this weapon. Now, the next set of numbers is not obtainable. I'm going to say that again because someone's going to get all aggro about this. These numbers are not obtainable. This is because you're not going to hit every shot, and we'll cover why in the next section, but this is the main reason the weapon is going to get nerfed into the ground most likely. The CR-2 has a potential, if all shots land, to do 248 damage per second at close range and 131 damage at long range. Even with the ion attachment, it does 219 damage per second at close range and 116 damage at long range. This is higher than any other weapon I've gotten the numbers for yet, but again, it's not obtainable and does require you not to miss a single shot. With that, this is why you get melted by the CR-2 in close range, because 248 damage is more than any trooper has, and so it can kill anyone in less than a second. So the reason why these aren't obtainable brings us to the next section, which is accuracy. So the clips above are looking at the grouping when fired at fully automatic until you run out of rounds. The grouping for the CR-2 is the same with or without ion shot equipped, so there's no change there. However, you can improve the grouping by using the recoil reduction attachment, which does help a lot. The photo is the grouping you saw earlier but stacked on top of each other to show where shots are most likely to land. Where all three colors overlap is the most common recoil pattern. If you look at the left hand grouping without attachments, you'll see the majority of shots are at the top of the recoil pattern. When you compare that to the grouping on the right with the recoil reduction, the majority are near the initial target point. This makes the recoil reduction a must, especially if you're going to try to engage at medium to long range, since it won't climb as fast and it won't climb as far. The final thing we come to is cooling power or reloading speed. The longest reloading time is by expending all of your ammunition and then failing at the minigame, but if you don't try the minigame of hitting the blue or gold, it'll take 2.28 seconds for the CR-2 to become fully operational again. If you hit the blue right when it's available, it'll take 1.12 seconds to cool, and if you hit the gold, it'll take 1.43 seconds to cool. This is faster than so far the pistols that I've done as well as the heavies that I've done. I haven't really touched the specialists yet, but this is actually pretty quick for an assault rifle. Now, since this is a shooter, and in shooters we love to reload after every kill or every group of kills, when you do that, regardless of how many rounds you have fired, it will take 1 second to cool every time. If you fired 49 of the 50 shots, it'll take 1 second. If you fired 1 of the 50 shots, it'll still take 1 second. So ideally, you do not want to reload after every kill, but once you start getting closer to the end of your magazine, it's best to reload before it forces you to. Granted, if you do miss this timing, you're not really going to lose much time as long as you hit the blue on the minigame. So instead of 1 second, it would take 1.12 seconds. So it's really not all that bad as long as you can time it right. All in all, the CR-2 is an amazing weapon and really should be used in close range engagements and is one of the strongest assault rifles available. Now, while the damage at close range is higher than any other assault rifle that's currently out there, most likely that will be nerfed into the ground in a coming patch. There has been a Twitter from DICE or from a developer at DICE saying that this weapon and the blurg will be getting nerfed. So everyone who's really mad about the CR-2, don't worry, it will be brought back down. But for right now, this is your close range, highest damage available. The only other assault rifle that is close to this is the initial weapon, but we'll be covering that here in the next coming weeks, since I will be doing every single weapon, every single blaster that is currently in the game, and as they do nerfs and changes, I will go back and try to find out exactly what they changed in order to bring things more in line and more balanced. So in the comment section down below, let me know which blaster you want to see next. If we see a high interest in one particular blaster, I'll see what I can do to move it up on the list. And if you don't care which one comes next, let's see some of those "oh my god, this gun is OP" comments that I know you want to post. If you like this video, make sure to hit that like, subscribe to the channel. I love having you guys here. Also, if you're on the PlayStation, come join my PlayStation community. It's RedWolf72PS4, where we can talk and party up for a few matches. You can also find me on Twitter at RedWolf72PS4. Thank you all for watching, and as always, I will see you in game.